So now we're reaching the climax of what God had intended for that day, that divine encounter. As Jeff and Ann walk back to their car and I'm positioned over my son's grave, things are about to take a drastic turn.
Yeah, so we were walking down that lane, and in our minds at that point, we were about to get in our car and drive away, a little disheartened. And I said to Jeff, I looked across the empty, cemetery, that when we got there it was full, now it's empty, no one's there. And as I looked over to my left, when we were pretty close to our car, I saw a lone figure so far away at the very end of the property. Couldn't tell if it was male or female, just really far away. And I turned to Jeff and I just said, there's somebody over there. And I don't know what you felt in that moment, but my spirit kind of jumped, like maybe this is it, We didn't see any cars there. How is this person here? There's nobody's car here but ours at this point. And as we took a couple of more steps and got closer to our car, I could see that there was a car parked directly behind ours. And it looked like the vehicle of someone who is a good friend of mine. And I looked at Jeff and I said, I wonder if that's Angie's car. And I sped up and started walking toward our car and the car behind us. And as I got close, I saw Landon, little 12-year-old Landon, in the car, just crying, hands over his face and just kind of rocking back and forth, crying. And I really felt like I was invading his privacy, and I didn't know what to do, and I just turned around and I looked at Jeff, and I just said, Jeff, it's Angie. And we immediately started crying and just started beelining toward her. And we got to her, and I was on one side and Jeff was on the other side, and we just embraced and cried together, and did that for a few minutes. I don't know how long it was. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget, after a few minutes of that, Angie looking at us and going, Wade, what are you doing here?
And I was halfway relieved because, as I was standing there after Landon had returned to the car, I hear these footsteps coming up. And in my mind, I'm just thinking, well, it's just Landon coming back. But then I realized there was two sets of footsteps, and then that scared me. And my mind's trying to rationalize, who might this be? And so all of a sudden I have a person on this shoulder and a person on this shoulder, and I can tell they're weeping, and I'm trying to turn my head to see who these people are. And the first person I see is Jeff. He's on my left, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I turn to the right, and it's Ann. And I was like, how did you know? It was that kind of feeling, like, what are you doing here? How did you know I was here? Because I could have never anticipated what God had done.
And I think after that moment of you being in disbelief, I think there was just this strange pause that happened there. We all recognized what happened at that moment, mm-hmm. and that it was God.
Yeah.
And we were relieved and a little taken back and amazed by it all.
Mm-hmm. When I asked them why they were there, it took Jeff a minute to compose himself. He was crying, and then when he began to share with me what had transpired a couple of days leading up to that moment, just the feeling of how vast God is, and just feeling so special to him that he would orchestrate something so grand for me. And I felt like a spoiled, rotten child of the King in that moment. I really did. And I felt like God had forsaken the rest of the world to just focus and concentrate on me in that moment, that he would orchestrate something so precious. to meet me where I am and to manifest himself in that way as Emmanuel.